As we wrap up 2024, I wanted to take some time to talk more about option premiums and highlight the success in the Discord panel. So I was on vacation for the last 2 weeks or so, and we managed to call out a lot of bangers. So if you've been watching on our Twitter X, we played both the upside and the downside successful. And the key question remains, how do we manage to find these incredible ideas about where the market's going to go and which side are we going to be playing? So in our countless videos that we made, we showed different strategies, but today was a unique situation in which the market opened significantly lower. We've seen rates near all-time highs with the 10-year bond surging, and we've seen SPX open down almost 100 points. So in the eyes of many amateur traders, this may look like a very strong bearish market, but we had determined that it was a good opportunity to buy calls. So we're going to be explaining how we managed to perfect all our SPX plays. We played both the up and the down consecutively throughout the day, and we're going to share that strategy with you, by describing our indicator and our option premiums. So let's get into it. So today we've seen the S&P 500 pretty much open down and move lower towards 58.78. Now, this downside move, some people may have been lucky enough to swing SPX puts. I didn't have any SPX put, but how we started off our day was, pretty much, I wasn't able to do my morning call today because I was pretty much coming back from vacation, and we just jumped right in, right? So we started off our day by playing SPX calls, okay? The reason why we had taken SPX calls is because, as I mentioned in one of my tweets on Twitter, is that when it comes to trading, you have to pretty much put your shoes in both the option premium seller and the option premium buyer. So by analyzing option premiums, we had determined that the put premiums were significantly more expensive. So we started off our day by buying the 59.40 calls at 2.63. Okay, so this was around 10 contracts. We got in at 2.5. Okay, so we bought this around over here at near the open. So this is 2 hours ahead, so that's 9:46 a.m. so approximately right over here. Okay, so we bought it right over here. As you can see, there was a little bit of major weakness, and pretty much it did look like that our calls was a losing play. As a matter of fact, my calls actually went down 50% before ripping to almost 200%. Right? The reason why we were confident about our trade had to do with our model here. Okay, so if we look over here, we had determined that the estimated weekly low on SPX was at 58.82. Now this right over here is our level that we analyzed to be our market bottom. Okay, there are other levels that you see that are below here. So as you can see right over here, 58.72 was the clear support where the market managed to hold. Okay, now level 2, what that represents is basically my trend confirmation, where the market is to see downside trend whenever it hits its low. Sometimes it's above, that's the mid-weekly low, sometimes it's below it. Okay, so in situations where it's below it, pretty much this is not intended to be our bottom. This is intended to be the bottom gamma. But as a matter of fact, these levels was given to our members before the start of the week here. Okay, so once again, this is timestamped at 50. You can see level 2 bearish at 58.72. Our estimated weekly low was 58.82. Okay, so with that being said here, now we see that the market can definitely trend lower moving forward. So in this case, if SPX retests the low here, then that trend confirmation is there. So since SPX had a weak close at around 59.09, it's very possible that every pop that you see in the market, you can see a close here, okay? I'm also going to be sharing with you my prediction on where I see the market going as well, moving forward. Okay, so now that we have that in mind here, we decided to pretty much hold that specific play because we knew that this here is a very strong gamma. So we held this play all the way up to 59.35, 59.30, and in our Discord we managed to bank that key number. So if you guys been seeing on my Discord that I pretty much had an initial target at around 59.20. okay, the reason why our initial target was around 59.20 was because that was initially the market market open at 59.20, and that was the ideal spot to sell. So we had basically taken profits around here and we left our runners. Okay, so going back to this, we explained a lot about the premiums here. So I mentioned it looks like a calls day, don't see any sellers. The 58.50 puts got decayed. So we were using the 58.50 puts as an idea because it did open at around $10, and we were noticing that the premiums had dropped significantly. If you look at this chart over here, it had a high at around 10, and we haven't seen the premiums on the 58.50 go significantly higher. It kept going lower, 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 which was a key thing for us, because if the market was going to crack down, we would have seen those premiums really move higher. So the reason why we were using 58.50 as a base is because we were looking for premiums that were in the market sell-off zone to get an idea of where the potential sell-off would be. So we were watching that in the Discord as an idea to pretty much get an idea of, is the market going to be moving up or down? And because of this whole theory here, and that SPX held my estimated weekly low, that's why we knew to hold those calls. So we pretty much held it until this here got to around 1, and its low of the day was around 40 cents. So we were watching that very carefully, okay? So as SPX started to move, some people had taken profits, and, we also seen other traders posting information about the call premium decay. We just sold pretty much our 8 calls, left 2 runners. So that was a hard point. At that point, we actually seen the premiums go back to break even and then rip again moving forward, right? They stopped at around $10, and we also watched that as well, okay? Unfortunately, we didn't get the fill on the Broadcom, but we're not chasing any of that. Our SPX plays continue to pump. They went to around 200%. We decided to take calls for tomorrow. This actually went up 50% as well, and we sold our runners at this time because we had rolled into it, right, to avoid the time decay. And pretty much near the end of the day, we decided to sell those calls, and then we got puts here, okay? So interestingly enough, why did we get the 5,900 puts at pretty much at 11.13, okay? So similar situation goes back to what I mentioned. We were looking at the calls. I seen the calls on the 59.40s drop 50%. They were pretty much consistent, and they dropped. And in these environments where you see consistent strength and the market really holding, you want to treat your puts as a quick play because they can lose premium very fast. And we managed to score another put play that went up 60%. So we sold those calls. We made puts on money on these, and even those calls for the next day we managed to sell for a little bit of profit. The end of the day lotto over here, this didn't work out, but we're initially planning to buy that 50 cents and didn't get there. Okay, so we had 3 perfect SPX plays and a perfect setup for an NVDA call, which also we had sold, and then we jumped back into it. Okay, so another thing as well, I believe personally that the market, because of the price action where you see over here, the tomorrow calls are probably going to be likely here. Now, it just came to my attention that the U.S. Treasury mentioned that they've been hacked by China, So I'm not sure what to think of that news just yet. I'm not sure if it's bullish or bearish. Last time I checked SPX futures, I remember it was under 5,900. Yeah, so we're at 5,900 currently at this time. So this was a strong sell-off over here, okay? One trick that you can employ here is whenever you see a strong sell-off near close, okay, this is actually bullish, okay? If there's no news, assuming there's no news or anything like that, but this is actually bullish here, okay? The reason for this here is that because option dealers, when they're trying to pretty much reconcile their positions, right, and balance it at the end of the day, what they tend to do is that they tend to cause a large MOC, a large sell-off that causes a drop. If we had seen the opposite, where the market actually ripped near the end of the day, that would have been a different story, okay? So just remember that it works many times. So I believe that we could see SPX retest 5940. And the key thing that also made me realize that the market was bullish is everything was red except NVIDIA, okay? That's why we had our NVIDIA calls, and that's why we have taken this as well. So if we remove this indicator here, you can pretty much see that NVIDIA had a strong start, and we had bought calls near the end of the day, just before the close here at the same price we got it at, okay, around the same price. So amazing day with the StockX team here. We had also given the equivalent SPY play as well, which was in the free Discord. We give one trade a day, 59.90 calls, which went to 40 cents, to, you know, more than $1. Okay, so that was amazing play. That was also given to our members in that particular space. So the prediction is tomorrow, I believe SPX can open around 59.40. NVIDIA should likely move nice up there. And I think that Tesla is probably going to be a weak one here, okay? Besides showing SPX levels over here, you guys can see that, and I gave this level live as well, that, you know, pretty much Tesla bounced right off our estimate, our level 1 bearish, right to the penny at around 416. And you can see the bottom right there was off by 25 cents, but that's a perfect bounce off this level 1 bearish right over here. You want to remember that Tesla's numbers come out tomorrow. NVIDIA, you know, it rejected at this point here, but then managed to get through and then back lower. So there's a golden cross here. NVIDIA has a keynote coming up. You got AMD that rejected this level 1 bearish. It opened negative, so that was one thing. Meta actually bounced off right exactly at my level 1 bearish support, okay? So these levels are pretty much godlike accurate, and we use this to understand if we're going to get bullish or bearish, and we played along, right? Because each of these levels has a meaning to it, and that's how we managed to do it, okay? So if you guys are interested in learning more how the model works and how to get access to our consistent alerts and trades and guidance, check out the link below to join our mentorship program. We also have a free Discord as well, where we're live on voice 2 times a week, and we give daily trades as well as market reports. So thanks for tuning in. See you guys in the next one, and like always, let's get the money.